Hi, everyone. I am Mel Robertson, and I'd love to welcome you to the Dare to Dream Bigger Summit, where you're going to learn how to harness the power of creation, get clear about your desires, and bring your biggest dream into reality. You're going to love the amazing expert that I chose for you today. His name is Christopher Timms, and I chose him because he teaches it's natural for all of us to directly experience sacred unity, and he can guide us to the oneness that rests within each of us. People think of Christopher in many different ways. As a teacher, healer, and renegade mystic, he considers himself a reminder of the oneness that you are, and simply a friend walking beside you, discovering sights along the way. He founded the Order of the Blue Star in 1988 and has been sharing the eternal teachings since that time. He also founded and facilitates the Blue Star Mystery School and teaches, and that reaches worldwide. The message is the messenger, authentically and without compromise. Thank you so much, Christopher, for joining us today. How are you?
It's my pleasure, Melanie. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself with our audience before you begin?
Well, for people who don't really know me, uh, I got kicked out of every spiritual organization I ever tried to be a part of. That's a really good way to just start things. And people will say, well, that doesn't sound very good. I don't know whether I want to listen to this guy. Well, let me explain. I've started studying yoga when I was 13, martial arts when I was 14. I've been heavily into sports as well as mysticism, all of this, all of my life. I've been a contractor, a builder, a professional musician, all types of different things. And what I found was in the spiritual life, much like in music or in contracting, you either know what you're doing or you don't know what you're doing. And it's really evident when someone doesn't know how to play the guitar and they're trying to play the guitar. It's really evident. So, but in spiritual life, you have this kind of intangible, nebulous, undefined thing where there's no benchmarks, there's no, levels as far as personal achievement and things, except the one that nobody wants to really cop to, which is personal experience. And see, when I personally began to experience a number of the different cities in yoga at a very young age, and as I began to experience just the movement of chi in Kung Fu and Tai Chi Qigong, and be able to do things that you weren't supposed to be able to do at a young age, and then my insights, my experiences beyond the body, all of these different things caused me to question the doctrine of different organizations that I wanted to be a part of, because you're learning and you're growing, you want to have spiritual fellowship and friends. And I found that the easiest way to get kicked out of an organization is to actually begin to experience the things that almost nobody experiences, but they all believe in and think that they understand. Because as soon as you begin to experience it, you realize it's a whole lot different than what I thought it was going to be, right?
Yes.
And that's true in most everything in life. A cerebral understanding and an emotional kind of involvement in an idea is totally different than just experiencing it. And so I realized that I've taken that quality, that propensity in my personality, and that's really what has propelled me into my spiritual life so fast, so far. And it really yields a very uncompromising way that I tend to talk about things and share things with people. And people either really enjoy me or they want to run screaming, and that's okay, because that way I know and they know exactly what they're into.
Well, I'm drawn to you, and I'm glad that you're here.
I think it's great. Yes, I'm so glad. And after I got tired of getting kicked out of the organizations, I decided that it was time for me to be a big boy and get my own football and start my own football team, basically, right? And I founded the Order of the Blue Star just outside the Edgar Cayce Institute on January 8th of 1988. And before that time, I was teaching yoga and some martial arts and doing some things. But that was the the mark where it became a full-time, full-on experience. So without a business plan, without any kind of idea of what in the world this 28-year-old guy was going to be doing, I set out in a van that I built a bed in the back and had Tupperware containers for my clothes and some stuff, and there I go, starting to talk to people about life's experiences.
Well, part of what you had to do was kind of follow your inner guidance and listen to that. Can you share a little bit more about that experience for you? Because I know a lot of
Yes,
our audience are they're being guided, they're seeing where they need to go, but they're resistant to taking that action.
yes. So let's talk about baby steps, and then let's talk about taking the big step. Okay, baby steps is what many people in alternative thought and in religious life will talk about as spirit speaks to you. Spirit gives you directions, guides give you directions, things of this nature. Um, these are what we could call transitional technologies, spiritual technologies. They work as intermediaries, okay, and they can be very effective for people. And there's another step that you can take. But most people don't know, so they come to that point where they get connected to guides, this type of an input system, and they just move laterally there for years or decades in their lives rather than continuing to move vertically,
Mm.
which represents a higher, more ascending type of a view. So now, in all of the lectures and teachings that I share, Melanie, there's the essential foundation has to do with listening to a high-pitched ringing sound that occurs in the inner hearing. And I hear it 24/7. It's not tinnitus, I assure you, okay? And this high-pitched ringing sound, everyone's got it. And just to keep things really quick and moving because of our time, this sound forms the foundation of every world religion, but they don't know it. All the indigenous people speak about it in their stories and their teachings and traditions. And it's been part of every secret society and mystical teaching going all the way back to the time of Egypt.
Hmm.
And yet it eludes almost everybody. It's everybody. It's in this high pitched ringing sound is known in the scriptures in the Western world. When you go back to the original Aramaic, this sound is actually the living word.
Mm.
This is the living word. In yoga, it's called the holy nam or the shabd. And this is the song of the universe, the Bhagavad Gita. The translation of the phrase Bhagavad Gita means song of God. This is the voice of God singing to you right now. I mean,
That's
that's
so
awesome.
amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Oh,
All right. So, you know, uh, since the mid 70s, my spiritual practice has been to gather my awareness and reflect gently, not focus or concentrate because that becomes a mental constriction thing.
mm.
Just relax and embrace into this listening for this sound. And then gathering my attention upon the spiritual eye, the place between the brows and slightly above them. And then you just gaze into the grain like texture that passes freely through the screen of the inner mind. That's the living light.
Mm.
So now you're gazing into the living light and the living word. And these are the principles that go all the way back, as far back as you can go, into Egypt, into Sumeria, the Maya, the Hopi. The Hopi talk about this sound, they call it the voice of our ancestors. They say that there are so many ancestors speaking their blessings to us that we can't tell one voice from another. So it sounds like this high pitched ringing sound. Isn't that
That's
great?
awesome.
Oh, it's awesome. It's just awesome. So, you get giggly and it's just fun and you feel like, wow, I got this.
Mhm.
It's right here. I got this
I
right now.
love remembering when I
Cool.
have access. I
Right.
love remembering that I have access
That's
at
right
any
there.
time.
So imagine that God is singing to you all the time, singing to
Oh.
you a love song, saying, "You're not alone.
Hmm.
I'm right here. I love you." But you're not paying attention because most people are too busy trying to do their things out here in life, their doings, or They haven't taken that step yet, and they're still listening to Aunt Esther and Uncle Bernie or this saint or this grandmaster or whoever it is on their inner vision and their inner guidance who's talking to them. Those things aren't bad. They're just intermediary steps. Come on, take
Right.
the big step. Get out of the playpen. Imagine that we're all toddlers and we're just going to climb over that playpen and just run. And that's what we're going to do.
It's
We're
like
just
when we
going to
stop needing the priest to go to God. We can just have direct
absolute.
access.
Yeah, there's no need for any intermediary.
Yeah.
It's just you.
Yeah.
It's just you. And so I always listen to the Word of God because it never tells me what to do. It never gives me any advice. And all it does is it inspires me to take a step forward. How else am I going to grow up if I'm always being told what to do or coached or given advice?
Right.
Then I'm never going to be the authority myself. See, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to own it. We're here to own it.
Yeah.
So everybody who's hearing this may be a bit conflicting for you, but that's okay. Consider, all you have to do is just consider, does this man know what he's talking about? Well, you know, this is how I live my life all of these years, and I do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of readings every year for people, and there are no guides, there's nobody involved. There's just me. I just zone right into you, and I just talk exactly to you because you and I are one in God.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Direct reading. So that's just what all that's about. And the teachings, there's no channeling, there's no guides input. It's just my direct experience of the presence of God as that light, which we call the body and the face of God, the Word of God, here, right here in the embodiment. And I'm teaching, talking about it, and I'm helping. Just by my example, you do the exact same thing. It's nothing that you don't have. Just most people haven't put their attention upon it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And
That's cool stuff to me.
it is, and I think it's a really great segue now that we know that we have direct access, and this is the Dare to Dream Bigger Summit where we're learning how to harness the power of creation. And I think learning how to harness the power of creation really requires that we have the bigger picture about who we are. And
That's
I
right.
would really love for you to share your perspective because I really think it's going to just help people wake
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. It's gonna help, and just gonna blow some people up right away. But that's okay,
Yeah.
because you can't unhear what you've heard, everybody. So if you don't want to hear this, change the channel. Okay. So we think that we are somebody going somewhere with something to do. And we feel as though we have to find out what our purpose is in order to fulfill some type of cosmic destiny that's been in store for us. Everyone's heard this story. Everyone knows what I'm talking about, right? And most of us find that our lives are filled with frustration because we're just not finding our purpose. We're just not finding our purpose. And first of all, I'm going to propose that psychologically, most people that think they're looking for their purpose are simply looking for recognition.
I like
Okay?
that.
That sounds kind of confrontational right away, but you know what? Fess up.
Yep.
I understand. I got it. Okay. So just the recognition that you're looking for doesn't come with finding out who you are. The recognition actually comes with experiencing freedom from who you think you are.
Absolutely.
Okay. And as you begin to experience freedom, how do you experience freedom? How do you get to this space? All I know is me. I thought my journey was about getting to know me. Not really, because the me that can get to know me is me, and I'm the problem I'm trying to solve. So that never made any sense to me from the word go. So freedom from oneself is really what this journey is about. And as you commune with this sound and light, here's a great way to think about this, getting to this aspect of what we call true self. Okay? And the true self, first of all, is not your personality. It has nothing to do with Melanie sitting here or Christopher sitting here. Way beyond any of that. Way beyond any of that. Way simpler, okay? The way you get there is every day, everyone, from now forever, I want you to take that little exercise of listening to that sound and gazing into that light. You're going to do it 10 seconds at a time. That's it.
Hmm.
And you're going to do it about 30, 40 times a day.
Okay.
Every time you sit down to have a meal, listen. That's actually the original prayer of the Essenes. Did you know that?
No, I love
Communing
that.
with the Word of God before they ate. No spoken prayer. Just boom. When you go to the washroom, you listen. When you get in the car before you go somewhere, listen. What are you doing? You're welcoming the presence, the voice, and the face of God into every aspect of your day. You're not just going to visit God once or twice a day.
Right.
Okay? Now, every time you do that, Melanie, you're going to invest. Imagine that there's a scale here tipping back and forth. You're going to invest in eternity.
Yes.
You're going to invest in eternity. And every little 10, 15 seconds of listening, you're throwing a few more of these gold coins in there on this side. Over here, you have all of your concepts of who you think you are, where you think you came from, your issues, your dramas, your mission, your stuff, all your stuff. Okay. And then that's fine. Don't try to get rid of any of that,
Right.
but just feed eternity.
Yeah.
And for a while, you won't feel like anything's happening because this is so much stuff over here. It's a whole lot of attachments, is what it is.
Right.
And as you keep feeding eternity, all of a sudden, one morning, you're going to listen, and then boom, the scale tips, and you're looking at the same world, but totally differently. You've now hacked out of the matrix. And you're looking around, you're going, holy mackerel, wow. So, and what you're realizing is that every book on your shelf, every item in your house, everything is part of a soup that you're also a part of. The floor beneath you, the air, the distance between you and I, all of this is part of some kind of cosmic soup stuff that I'm inseparable from. And I've never been separate from any of it. I just thought I was.
Yeah.
See? So that means that none of my Chris issues exist, none of my Chris dramas really exist, that none of my lessons I'm supposed to learn or contracts to fulfill or any of this kind of stuff, none of that exists when you move into that authentic level of being. This is a state of transcendence. This is what the ancients all talk about. This is what all of the ancient teachings talk about: Hinduism, Buddhism, esoteric Christianity, the Egyptian mystery schools, the teachings of the Hopi. You know, everybody talks about this state of transcendence, and it's a living state where I mean, honestly, I never moved really completely out of this state since I moved into this state many, many years ago. I sit here in the room, and if I focus on one thing for more than a few moments, everything begins to wave and trip out, just like you're in a big psychedelic experience.
Yep.
Because all the personality frameworks begin to dissolve away.
Yeah.
And it's just showing you how fluid consciousness really is and how rigid we've become in believing who we think we are.
Yeah.
You know, what Melanie's issues are, what Melanie's responsibilities are. Melanie. Christopher. Who cares? I mean, come on. You know, and you know what that frees you up to do? This frees you up when you experience that you're really no one in particular. You're nobody. It's the nowhere man from the Yellow Submarine. You're nobody going nowhere with nothing to do. And you realize that the natural feeling you have, and this is the big payoff, is love.
Yeah.
You just feel this immense love of everything, everywhere, every little thing. It's like you love the rock that you're just looking at in the ground just beneath your feet. You know,
You can't contain it.
you can't contain it, and it just streams out of you because you realize that that rock and that tree in the backyard, that's like your blood and your bones, and somehow you are all of this.
Yeah.
And just every day is just a deeper communion. The word communion, everyone, means to be part of.
Mm.
Okay? Commune means to be part of. So this deepening communion with the world that you are.
Mm.
That's that's who you are. That's who you are. I mean, not this little compartment here, you know. I mean, that's just one cell. This is one cell, as wonderful as this cell may be. It's one cell in the great cosmic body of life. So therefore, you realize not only that you are love, the embodiment of love, that all of this is love, but you realize that you're eternal.
Mm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You realize that you were never born, so you can never die. You realize that what we call death is simply a doorway,
Yeah.
and there's a continuity of life as we pass through the doorway continuously
Mm-hmm.
throughout eternity. That our life is just to embody love, to explore the many faces of love, to explore, let this creativity flow through us in all of its infinite ways. That's the purpose of life.
Mm.
That's the purpose of life. That's who you are.
Mm.
Nobody going nowhere with nothing to do, and all you have to do is be love. Be loved to the max.
Oh, that just feels so yummy and wonderful right now. Uh, the feeling, it's all bubbly and alive, and
It's
it's so bubbly,
it's
like my eyes are watering. I have to keep like wiping my because I'm so excited.
it's
And
great. It's
yeah.
great. It's great. It's so simple. That's why all the teachings tell us that you have to be like a little child to
Yeah.
enter the kingdom. Because a little kid just hears me say things like that and goes, "Well, duh,
Right?
come on." They don't take any of their stuff very seriously for very long.
No.
you know Now I
I
want to qualify everything I'm saying by saying that this doesn't mean that I become oblivious or immune to
mm,
feelings and that I'm some automaton in life. This is just the opposite. This is the challenge of all of this. The slightest of things brings me to tears
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and moves me. I laugh all the time. I find that I feel much more deeply
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not attached. I'm not restricting the flow by thinking I know who I am or who's even experiencing these feelings. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this means that you're now free to love someone else. You're free. You're not afraid to
Mm-hmm.
be in love
Yeah.
because you're completely defenseless. You're totally vulnerable. You're wide open, and that's the most powerful position in the universe.
Yeah, and it really allows you to totally accept the other person, no matter where they are in their
Beyond
journey.
conditions.
Yeah, it's
Beyond
so
conditions,
powerful.
expectations. So you're free to love. You're free to
Yeah.
love. And this love, Melanie, this love, this state of being nobody in this space with the sound and the light of God that you're experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
this enables me every morning to rediscover everybody in my life. I
Yeah.
rediscover my wife, my
Yep.
dogs. I rediscover the sound of the rain coming down on the roof. It's just amazing to
Mm-hmm.
rediscover it fresh and new, to not hold the preconceptions of yesterday,
Yeah. And to
the
really feel
judgments.
like in every moment that it's continually expanding. The contraction is less and less, and as I continue to expand and grow, the restrictions and the contractions that would come up in relationships, all those dissolve so much easier, and we're able to move in love and laughter and
Yes,
playfulness. That's one of the key things in our relationship is playing. We act like kids all the time, and we play together and have so much fun,
right.
and it's such a beautiful thing to be in that place and unconditional and just operate from that place of love. It's so beautiful.
And that's great. That's a great way to say that. And just in listening to your words, it was just looking at the teachings of the Buddha and looking at the teachings of Jesus. Neither one of them said anything about processing any of your stuff.
Right?
None of them said any of that about processing stuff, reliving childhood issues, finding your life's purpose or mission. They said essentially the same thing. The Buddha said to find nirvana, experience the state of nirvana by dissolving self, by
Mm.
transcending self. And Christ said to seek first the kingdom of heaven.
Mm-hmm. And love.
Not guides, elementals, elves, gnomes, mission, purpose, dramas, and no. Not that any of it's evil.
Right.
Okay, don't. I don't want anybody to think
Uh-uh.
I'm a spiritual fascist or something. It's not that. It's just that I'm a stickler for keeping things nice and clean
Mm-hmm.
and just really spacious in my spiritual life to let my creativity just ooze into the day.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to keep the message pure and true, because it is about love and
Yes.
unity. I am that. I am.
Yeah, I am all of this.
Yeah. I'm that. I'm that.
Every drop of rain from the sky,
I
every
am.
ray of sun that comes through the clouds, everything that's going on is me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and the separateness of everybody else around me dissolves, and I can really feel that every single one of you are all my brothers and sisters, and we're here to love each other and support each other along the
Even the
way.
mosquito that's
Even the
right.
mosquito.
That's right.
No killing on the interview. No
No, I won't.
catching the mosquito.
I'll just try to push him away from right now. That's right.
Oh, wow, that's so moving, so powerful. I'm just feeling so amazing right now. From this place of pure love, just truly connected to Source, how now can we really experience the life of our dreams from this place?
As you begin to invest in sound and light, as the investment accrues, and then you tip that leverage, then the return on that is the beginnings of the insight, the transcendence of self, the emptying of self.
Mm.
And then as you just experience this openness, it's there's two stages. One is what I call the emptiness. And the second stage is called the emptiness that is full. What happens is that as you experience this emptiness that says I'm no one, I'm just the light and the sound of God, the light of eternity, that's just what I am. There's no definition to it, it just is.
Mm.
As you commune with that, then what happens is that there's an initial spin, kind of like a pendulum starts moving. And then each of us, imagine this now, everyone, imagine that your personality is like a prism that refracts sunlight.
Mm.
And this living light that's just beaming from your heart in all directions. It's a sphere of light in all directions. It's going to refract just like a big prism because your body's this big prism and your personality is how the prism is adjusted and tuned. So the refraction or the light that pours through is the fulfillment of all of your dreams beyond what you think you want,
Right.
is beyond what you think you could ever know because what you think and know are just what you've done. And you don't want to do that anymore.
No.
So this is part of the problem of people setting goals and mind mapping and vision boarding and all that stuff is that they work within the context of their own momentum.
Right.
So this takes us outside of that into the emptiness that it's full, the nothing that's actually something. And
Mm.
this initial spin becomes this perception of our creativity and it broadcasts out into the present moment all around us on what Shakespeare calls the stage of life. And this broadcast is the fulfillment of your deepest desires, your deepest creativity. And it's also the antagonists and the roadblocks and detours along the way because with one comes the other. It's all an adventure, everyone. It's not some yellow brick road because, even on the yellow brick road, there were a lot of dramas and traumas along the way. Okay. So that's all part of the message of that story is that this broadcast from the self, the authentic self, which is just luminous, just
Mm.
blazing light, just blazing light. You know, in Aramaic, the translation is this light is called the astonishing fire.
Mm.
Isn't that just
Oh,
awesome stuff?
that is awesome.
The astonishing fire. the astonishing fire just shines, and these
Mm.
flickers from this astonishing fire just shine through the prism of your own personality, expressing all of you, all of you. This is why I say over and over again that this is the world that I am. This is the world that I am. Feel the intimacy, the connection. And so life is the dream fulfilled. Life is the manifestation. It's just a question of what are you manifesting, and the physics of your manifestation has nothing to do with anything else that you do other than you getting out of the way.
Yes.
And you getting out of the way is light and sound, the investment. It accrues, it shifts your
Mm.
perception. You begin to realize that you're not any of this that you thought you were. And with that, the broadcast changes, and then the whole world around you changes. Boom. That's how manifestation happens consciously rather than subconsciously.
Mm. Powerful.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now that's something that everybody can listen to over and over and over again, because we've gone through some pretty big points here.
Mhm.
And in an interview like this, where we don't have a lot of time, I just really wanted Melanie to be able to really show people the power of simplicity.
Yeah. And I think we nailed it.
I think so too. I think, well, you're great because you just provide this space, and you just kind of poke me this way and poke me that way, and it's just great. And I think it'll be very good.
One thing that I would like to talk about, I know something that comes up for people is this common misconception where they feel like their gift to the world or something is something they're supposed to be doing or some action they're supposed to take. And
Yeah.
I know I struggle with that myself of like, oh, well, I wanna do this. Well, I better start taking action, and I better line this up, or in order for it to come, I better move towards it or something. So I think that would be a really good piece to talk about.
Yeah. Many people are under the live in the suffrage of the delusion that their job is to save the universe from pending doom and disaster, and then take their seat on the Galactic Council for the new whatever it is. Okay, you know all the different variations on that theme, right? Um, a beautiful thing about freedom from oneself is you begin to realize that your mission is to be the embodiment of love.
Mm.
Your mission is to find joy and value and just beauty in this moment. And if you live that to the deepest, to your bones each day, that is a huge contribution to bringing the whole world into that space, because you are the world, and now you're saying, this is where I stand. This is what I am, and you're reminding everybody else by your presence that that's who they are too.
Yeah.
And this is when people all over the world just begin to put down their guns, they put down their opinions, they put down their religious righteousness, and their politicism, they put down all of their foolishness, and they realize, wait a minute, we're all in this together.
Yeah. Yeah. We are all in this together.
Yes, yes, always were.
Yep. We were never separate.
Well, so does that help with that question that you were referring to? I really find that it's very upsetting when I hear that people have spent so many years of their lives trying to bring some gift out, trying to do something out, let it out. When the way to let your creativity out, and I know because remember, I've been a professional musician all my life. I've played the violin since I've been 6, the drums since I've been 10. I played professionally all over the place, studio work, did all of this. And just with contracting work, being creative, the way to let your creative flow out is to get out of the way.
Mm.
The best drums I've ever played were not me playing the drums. It's me being completely vacant.
Mm-hmm.
And the music plays me.
Yeah.
And that's the way spiritual life works. Is you let that sound, that light, that presence just play through you. You're not channeling it, you are it. There's no duality.
Right.
You're just getting rid of the obstructions.
Now, I know for a lot of my viewers that a lot of the information that we're sharing today is stuff that they have heard and they know that they need to go, kind of inward and listen to the sound and listen. But I know for me especially, I mean, I ran from doing that for a lot of years, going inward and listening. Can we talk about the fear of actually going inward, maybe?
Sure. Here's here's an interesting point about going inward is most people don't even really know what it's like to go inside. I know I'm just very cantankerous, okay,
I
but
love
it's
it.
just the way it is. And when you ask a group of women to go inside, they go right to their feelings because that's what women are based in. Feelings, emotion, memory. And then you ask a group of men to go inside, boom, we go right to our mental list of all the things that have to get done, the things that we're thinking about, you know. And that's a generalization, but we're all a collage of those types of impressions, okay? All men are a little bit women, all women are a little bit men, and we go around through all those ideas, right?
Right.
But you see the picture. I'll contend that neither of those places are inside.
Right.
And if you meditate from being in your emotions and feelings, you're missing the point. If you meditate from being in your mind, trying to just not do your list, you're missing the point. And if you try to make yourself be quiet, you're missing the point. Okay? It's through the simple practices of incorporating the sound and the light into everyday life just for a little bit that then you come to this place that we know is inside.
10 seconds
And
at a time. It's not a lot of time.
not a lot of time. Seeing it's not scary. It's not a big demand on you, and it becomes part of a game that you play throughout the day.
Yeah.
So how many times can I do this today?
Yeah.
And the game only lasts a short period of time because in a short order, everyone will be hearing the sound all the time. Even
Right.
if I have the radio cranked up in the truck or the car and I'm listening to music that I want, I still hear the sound because you're hearing it. You think you're hearing it with your ears because that's where we start the attention, but you're really hearing it with your heart.
Mm.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what happens with all of that is that the ease with which you let yourself kind of slip into experiencing this becomes a great comfort, and you find through this investment that we've been talking about, all of a sudden you're beyond your emotions, you're beyond your feelings. There is no mental dialogue going on like this. There's no committee in here, you know? And it's as though you've dropped a number of sandbags out of a hot air balloon and you're just in this spacious place. There's that emptiness. See, it's the beginning right there. That's the emptiness before you know it's full,
Yeah.
right? That's where you want to rest. You want to rest in the emptiness that is full, right there. That's eternity, and it's a present moment. That's endless pools of creativity, and all you have to do is pick your foot up and take a step.
And you can get there any moment you want to.
Any moment. And this life is really kind of void of a lot of planning. Because all my best laid plans have been turned asunder by just the flow.
Yep.
And so you find yourself just making little plans because we have to make little plans. I mean, come on, life is scheduled.
Yep.
And as we do things, everybody has to be adaptable. Everybody has to be malleable and pliable to life's ebbs and flows. That way you get to have the greatest journey.
Yeah.
Don't be rigid. Just let go because there is no rigidness in here.
Yeah. Shake it all out.
Right, right. Just be that astonishing fire.
And that
Yeah.
astonishing fire will not tire you out. For
No,
people that are worried about that.
no, 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 no.
No.
And on that note, this astonishing fire, this living light that you are, as it begins to shape your thought processes and your choices and your life's direction, it shapes everything as long as you continue daily surrendering into it
Yeah.
through your practices, right? As you do that, you find that your eating habits change, your
Mm-hmm.
social habits change, your preferences, attitudes, everything begins to reformat itself in greater likeness of this presence.
Mm.
That's the point. I mean, it just happens despite anything that you do,
Yeah.
not really because of what you do.
Right. And we think we just have to keep doing this stuff to make things happen, but we don't have to do anything.
Right. It becomes
Effortless.
what, yes, that's right. The effortless effort. It's called the art of not doing, and it's the path of the warrior.
Mm, beautiful. Wow, Christopher, this has been such an amazing interview.
It's great. It was really a spin of really fun things to talk about with everybody, and I love that we can just talk, and it's not directed, scripted heavily or anything. We
Yeah.
have some themes for everybody, but we just jam on this.
Yeah. So that everybody will get what they need. I'm not in
Yeah,
control of what's coming out. I'm just
right.
dropping in.
Me either. I'm just kind of along for the ride. Just
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Christopher, I really appreciate you being here, and I understand you have an amazing free gift to share with everyone. Would you like to talk about it for a moment?
yes, a live lecture. If you've liked or are at least intrigued by some of the things you've heard here today, then there's a 2 hour version of all of this and much, much more. Um, that's living the spiritual life. It's a live recording of a live talk that's been recorded, and it's just been re-EQ'd and tweaked to help you hear things really clearly. But it's not been edited heavily or anything like that at all. And I know that you'll really enjoy that. You'll take it with you, and people have told me that they've listened to versions of living the spiritual life 50 times because he didn't really just say that, did he? And then I go back and they go, yeah, he did. Oh my God, and then so it's fun and everyone will really love it. And we really wanted to bring that, to everyone that's associated with you, Melanie, and just be.
Excellent.
Be
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Melanie, Melinda. I'm sorry, dear.
It's all good. It's just a name. I go by Mel anyway, so.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Oh, thank you so much, Christopher. Do you have any final words you'd just like to impart with our guests before we go?
The Tibetans teach us that we are all sailors in the cosmic sea. That's all we are.
Yeah.
The sailors in the great cosmic sea. They call it the ocean of love and mercy. And as we sail in this cosmic sea, we ride the waves of sound. The waves of sound. And where do we go? We go into the light. Always and forever. Into the light. That's the Tibetan meaning of life. Isn't that just beautiful stuff?
Mm-hmm. And it just confirms all there is light.
All there is light. That's it. That's the only direction. It's the only goal.
Thanks so much, Christopher. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Christopher. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.